President Biden set to hold a rare Oval Office meeting today with Fed Chair Jerome Powell. This comes as Americans feel the effects of the economy in turmoil. Here's the situation. Inflation's a problem. Price of gas hitting yet another all-time high today, $4.62 a gallon this morning. Meanwhile, the stock market's broken an 8-week losing streak, but the major indices still down significant margins on the year. Looming over all this, a shrinking economy contracting by 1.5% in the first quarter, the first time that's happened since the start of the pandemic. I want to bring in Brian Deese now, Director of the White House National Economic Council. Sir, nice to have you today, and good morning to you. Thank you for your time. I want to start with inflation. Where does the White House see inflation? Do you see it moderating? Is it going higher? Or do you see a slowdown?
Well, I think where we are right now is in a transitioning from what has been a historically strong economic recovery to what can be more stable and resilient growth. But at the front and center of that is tackling inflation and bringing down prices and bringing them down as fast as we prudently can. And that's what the president's plan that he outlined today and the meeting that he'll have with Chair Powell is all about. First, we need to give the Fed the independence to operate and use the tools that it has to address inflation. Second, we need to bring down everyday costs for families during this transition period. And third, we need to bring down the federal deficit. We've made some real progress on that front. The deficit down more than $1.5 trillion already this year, but we need to make more progress there as well.
Okay, so with regard to what you just said there, here is the op-ed in the Wall Street Journal today. Joe Biden penned it, said, "My plan for fighting inflation. I won't meddle with the Fed, but I will tackle high prices while guiding the economy's transition to stable and steady growth." With all due respect, "I won't meddle with the Fed" is the statement that's in the byline there, the subtitle. But it is an Oval Office meeting, one-on-one.
Well, it's standard practice for presidents from time to time to meet with the chair of the Federal Reserve to get their perspective on the economic outlook. So that's standard. In this case, what the president will do is underscore publicly his commitment to supporting and respecting the independence of the Fed. And you've already seen that from this president in terms of who he has appointed to the Federal Reserve, a bipartisan slate of governors, including Chair Powell. They are now in chair, and so the president's looking forward to hearing from Chair Powell. But what he will underscore is his commitment to respect the independence of the Fed, give the Fed the space that it needs to operate. And that is not something that we can take for granted. That's not ways that some prior presidents, including the former president, approached this issue. So President Biden will underscore his commitment to doing that today.
Twice you said the independence of the Fed. I take your word for it. Is there going to be a camera in the Oval Office?
I believe the president will have an opportunity to make some remarks at the front of the meeting. The meeting itself will be a private meeting between Chair Powell and the president.
Okay, we're hanging on that word. Won't meddle with the Fed. Meanwhile, call for number 3, guys. Diesel costs today versus last year. I mean, this is just a killer for so many because, Brian, you know, the price is up here and it's handed down to just about everyone across the country. Do you feel the pain?
Absolutely. Look, this president and our entire team understands that when the price goes up at the pump, typical families feel it. And as to your point, when the price of diesel goes up, it affects logistics and transportation costs. And this is, unfortunately, the impact of Putin's war in Ukraine. The price of diesel and gas at the pump are up more than $1.50 since Putin started amassing troops at the border because we've brought Russian oil off the market and Russian refinery capacity to create diesel off the market as well. But that's why we are focused on doing everything we prudently can while keeping the pressure on Vladimir Putin.
Brian, I get it. I mean, it comes up in every conversation. It was pointed out in the Wall Street Journal piece I just pointed out as well. But your energy policy has taken us from energy independent in the other direction. On case after case. I mean,
respectfully, we're producing more.
Right. But yeah, how do you defend
We're producing
that?
more oil. We're producing more oil this year than in the first year of the last administration. We're producing record amounts of natural gas. We're exporting record amounts of natural gas. And we have worked with the industry to encourage them to increase production even further. 1 million barrels a day is their public commitment by the fall. Beyond that, this president has taken the unprecedented step of releasing 1 million barrels a day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to try to address the immediate supply challenges we have here, and also to try to reduce the cost.
Picture, that whole Strategic Petroleum Reserve, I mean, that's pennies on the dollar. I mean, that's what it essentially amounts to. And I know you're not going to budge on this, but I do want to move to one more topic while I got you here, okay? And that's student loan. Call for 5, guys. Here we go. Wiping out $10,000 of debt per borrower could cost roughly $230 billion. That price tag notwithstanding, I know this has gone back and forth. The Washington Post has been reporting it, that the president's going to forgive student loan debt. The White House won't confirm that. Will that happen, Brian, on behalf of the commander-in-chief?
The president has made no decision on that. I won't get ahead of that other than to say that those reports are premature. And so it's an issue among many that we continue to look at, the president continues to look at. And look, there are millions of American families out there who are not well off, who are working and trying to get ahead, and for whom the burden of student debt is a real practical issue. That's why the president spoke to it on the campaign and why he continues to assess options that make sense in that space. But he has not made a decision, and I won't get ahead of that.
Okay, so we'll wait on that. But what do you say to those the millions of Americans who signed contracts for those loans, and they could possibly be forgiven? There are millions of Americans who made a decision not to go to college. It might have been financial, and it's their taxpayer dollars that may ultimately relieve some of that student loan expense. How do you square that?
Well, we want to create more economic opportunities for everybody across the income spectrum, across the education spectrum. And one of the benefits of the very strong labor market recovery that we've seen is right now there are more opportunities for those at the bottom end of the income spectrum to get better jobs with higher wages than there have been in decades. At the same time, there are families out there struggling with student loan debt, and I think for a lot of those families, having the ability to breathe a little easier at night and maybe make economic choices to start a new business or take a new job would be good for them and good for the economy. So I think that we can help people broadly across the spectrum. That's certainly what has happened in this labor market recovery and what the president is committed to do. But again, beyond that, I won't speak to any specific proposal before the president does.
Brian, listen, the economy is issue number one, as you well know. Please come back, okay? I got a ton more questions, and we'll cover more ground next time, and we'll see whether or not there's movement on student loan debt, whether or not there are more hazards that go with that. Brian, thank you. Brian Deese from the North Lawn. Thanks for your time. Here's Julie.